Welcome once again to Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from the Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards. RJ, how are you today?
There's no possible news dropping tomorrow, which is very exciting after the week we have both had with the CSR news.
How could you say there's no possible news dropping tomorrow? Who knows? Maybe Wells Fargo will finally find like some transfer partners under a couch cushion.
If Wells Fargo came out tomorrow and his guys, we landed American Airlines, how
I'm
fast would you have to call off of work to make videos?
not going to answer that question because it may get me in trouble.
I would absolutely not call off of work. How dare you imply such a thing, which I think is telling.
Yeah, if Wells Fargo landed American Airlines, like if Wells Fargo landed the plane before like the nuclear plane comes down with City, I'm going to laugh. It would just be a 45-minute just me laughing hysterically.
What do you think is a fair Wells Fargo point to American Airlines transfer ratio?
No,
37 to 1.
37 to 1 would hurt like hell. No, it can't be outrageous as outrageous as that. I think if you wanted to keep Americans points established, which Americans seems to want to do from how they operate, because that is all they're running on is just the value of their points. It's not we have an amazing soft product, we have an amazing hard product, we have the world's best planes. No, it is our points are
Valuable.
that we will not do anything to them. I think a reasonable transfer with Wells Fargo, if Wells Fargo landed the plane, I think it would be 5-3. It's a crappy exchange rate, but Wells gets to say they have a domestic partner. Wells gets to have a somewhat sustainable transfer part ratio where American Airlines doesn't have to immediately devalue and just pull the rug out from everyone. That's got to be one of the biggest sticking points with negotiations with Citi and American Airlines because if the plane was going to land, it would have landed already, and it's clearly not going to be 1-to-1.
No. I think we can
Um,
all kiss that goodbye.
yeah. Now, I think American is pushing City for 3-to-1. I think American could try to push City even further, and City is trying to get 3-2, 5-2, something a little bit better. The next thing they'll have to do is reorganize the credit card lineup anyway.
Yeah.
So, do you sour changing up the credit card lineup to get the point transfer done? Because the point transfer now has to be on the back burner until at least 2027.
Yeah.
In which case, like Wells Fargo could just step up and be like, "How about 5 Wells Fargo points to 3 American Airlines points? Just don't devalue on us immediately. You can devalue whenever you want, and we can just ask you for a better rate then. But for now, 5-3, please. We'll throw in Martin
Cell phone
Short
protection.
and cell phone protection. Wells Fargo landing the plane would be amazing. But like most things, I don't think that plane is landing anytime soon. Nuclear plane continues to be in a holding pattern
Yes. But I look forward to whenever Wells Fargo does the thing. I really do look forward to your reaction to whatever thing happens to thing.
because lately, like every credit card refresh and every credit card that's dropped in the last 18 months has been a disappointment. Virtually every single one.
I don't know if I would call the gold refresh a disappointment.
I was just about to say, maybe with the exception of the gold refresh.
I don't think it's a disappointment.
Yeah,
I don't think American Express ever hinted that very specific thing was going to happen for people to get upset about.
this is true. I just would have liked to have seen a couple more shekels thrown at the Resi credit because $100 felt, thinking about it now, $100 felt a little light.
I would like the Resi credits to go away because I don't use Resis.
No, that's fair. But we had the JetBlue Premier card. That was a dud. The Turkish Airways card. It's a very unique and very niche credit card. The new Virgin Airways card with Synchrony. That's a dud. The Qatar cards are interesting in the value proposition that they can give you if you are willing to fly Qatar, because Q Suites is like the bee's knees apparently. But if you are a one world person, if you fly one world a lot, like that card has a very unique use case to you, but beyond that card's a little rough. The other cardless cards, the Avianca card, the Tap Air Portugal card, they're not particularly compelling cards in terms of multipliers for the airlines. Like they do some interesting things here and there, but Cardless is having a hard time selling credit cards.
Yep.
The Altitude Reserve going away was a bit of a problem. The Smartly card offering the world and then immediately snapping it out of existence like Thanos was not a good idea.
Somehow we have turned the beginning of Stack Your Points into one of our lives, which is interesting.
It's what we do when it's just you and I. Speaking to that, Craig is on assignment this week and Tariq remains on deep assignment. So it's just RJ and I. You can enjoy our dulcet tones as we talk about the last 18 months and credit card launches and just how bad they've been. Because it's not been like, I feel like Autograph Journey is probably the best launch overall.
Yeah, I think Autograph Journey is probably the best. Though I will say, what, the Altitude came out in the last 18 months, right?
Tune, yes, but it came out of nowhere. So yeah, my Tune card is less than a year old. So that is a really interesting niche card. And as long as you can make the 4% at Amazon work, it's a really strong card. If it comes to things like Ticketmaster and StubHub, I'd more likely go for my Attune because I can guarantee 4% there, as opposed to like getting $150 off with the new Sapphire Reserve refresh that I don't get until October. We did another live last week, kind of after letting some of the dust settle. My last Tuesday was a marathon. So yeah, I can't anticipate any more news this week that's going to outshine that unless like tomorrow Chase is just, oh yeah, Sapphire preferred refresh. Here you go.
Those are going to have the Sapphire preferred, the Ink preferred, even if they do a Freedom refresh, like those kind of have to drop in the next like month or so to
We
really get it all done.
we have a very specific date where points stop being worth a certain amount. So if they wait until the 26th of October to drop the preferred refresh and the freedom refreshes to lock in the new, you don't get no bonus points.
Yeah, because didn't they just say you get one Sapphire bonus now in your lifetime?
Yeah, the new bonus language puts heavy emphasis on the word may.
I love the word may. The word may is always fun.
You may not be entitled to a bonus if you currently have the card. If you've gotten a Sapphire bonus previously, you may not be entitled to another one, but other factors will also go into things like how many cards you've opened and closed with us. It is a whole other black box.
I'm good. I am in dad mode at the moment, and I needed to take a quick break before I joined to make sure I had a small bowl of ice cream because Monday for us is Monday, and that's what I needed right now.
Flavor of ice cream that is bright blue.
So it's the Cookie Monster flavor. It's really just cookies and cream, but they make it like really bright blue for some reason. It doesn't do anything. It's just blue, but it's literally just cookies and cream. I absolutely love it.
They make it blue to sell it.
It works.
Yeah,
Look,
that's
look. It's a trifecta for me. I love cookies and cream ice cream. It's one of my go-tos. It's in my top three for sure. I've always been a fan of Cookie Monster. So if we were to literally go anything in from my childhood, Cookie Monster would probably be like my favorite Sesame Street slash Muppet. I know they're not the same, but I'm saying across all of them. And third, it's different, man. It's blue. And I don't normally like blue things because I'm allergic to blueberries and raspberries. So anything blue has always been like a turnoff for me. But this is just, I don't get it. Why? And it's blue and it's cookies and cream. And they call it Cookie Monster. I just had to do it. So
now more important question. Was this your
DoorDash
DoorDash?
credit.
Yes.
DoorDash credit.
Perfect.
Also,
Perfect.
Matt, you'll enjoy this.
Nice.
Official t-shirt.
That
Still waiting on my certificate though. That thing's taking forever to get here. I don't know why. It's
whatever,
only
you can
coming
just
from
wear the
Europe.
certificate now,
It's only coming from Europe. Whatever.
depending on where in Europe.
Yeah. No idea.
Yeah, that's fine. We're going to move over to news and topics. And jumping off with news, I'm going to summarize my Sapphire Tidbits video and we'll shoot for 2 minutes. But the new welcome offers for the Sapphire Reserve business launched today. The Sapphire Reserve is a 100,000 point plus a $500 one-time use Chase travel credit that is $500 when you spend $5,000 in 3 months. So 100,000 points, $500 one-time use credit, $5,000 in 3 months. That credit is in addition to the $300 travel credit and in addition to the edit credit. So if you finagle this just what you can do is get a $500 plus $300 plus $250 credit, and you could book like a $1,200 stay at the edit and only pay $150. You got to do some magic to get there, but could be worth it. The Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business card, 200,000 point welcome offer, $30,000 in spend in 6 months. The only good part of that is you get 6 months to spend $5,000 a month, unlike the Business Platinum and Business Gold, which usually have $15,000 or $20,000 in spend in 3 months. But 30,000, 6 months, and you only get 200,000 points. I don't know if this is the best. This is the best you are earning potential, but there it is. The Ink Preferred has gained Dash Pass and a $10 a month credit for non-food deliveries on now on the Ink Preferred. This is the beginning of the Ink Preferred's refresh. I think it's becoming the Sapphire Reserve for business, but that's just me. And Points Boost has been added to the Ink Preferred, Sapphire Reserve, and Sapphire Reserve for Business as of today. The floor is now 1 cent per point. The preferreds can go up to 1.75x the cent per point in the travel portal, and the reserves can go up to at least 2 cents per point in the portal. Those are the big ticket items. Oh, and the preferred and the ink preferred. If you have opened either of those cards in the last year, check your emails for an email from Chase. You could also be getting an extra $50 travel credit. That would be a one-time use. You can use it up until June 23rd of next year. That's the news as we know it. I need another issuer to do something. Just anything.
So what's interesting to me is I understand that the Sapphire Preferred and the Reserve were 0.25 away from each other before. With it going up to 2 and 1.75, like it feels like why would you get the Reserve when you can just get the Preferred? Even if they bump up the annual fee, even if it's $300 and they add a couple of features, like why would anyone get the Reserve
Yeah,
an
it was a
upgraded
$300 credit, and that 0.25 difference plus the $300 credit makes sense. This 0.25, now it's like I can get rid of the $300 credit, and I'm still getting more than 1.5 than I was getting on a higher annual fee card before, getting 1.75, if that's what you're used to. Now, granted, it is points boost, so it's not flat rate anything through the portal. But no, I also agree. If you can take advantage of the points boost often, I see where you're coming from. Is like, why I'll take a 0.25 hit. The same way people were taking a 0.25 hit with the preferred before. Yeah, I'll just pay a lot less and get 1.25 versus 1.5. So I also agree with you there. But the other thing is wait to see what they do with the preferred. Don't jump yet.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, and Chase has removed the 48-month rule. There's the new welcome offer pop-up window, and there's also the ability to hold 2 sapphires at the same time.
which makes it interesting that I was just straight declined, but no credit check. Because I hold a no annual fee Sapphire, but you would imagine lifting that would, I don't know. Maybe Chase is, no, we're not even processing this. We refuse.
What are you doing? There's also that. But let's jump into topics. We'll start with Lonnie. Let's keep going down the travel portal rabbit hole.
So for me, I feel like we're getting to a point where card issuers are going to make and or force us to use our travel portals. We're already starting to see a lot of this happening where you get the best earning rate or whatever when you use said travel portal, or in some cases, you only get your credit when you use said travel portal. But I'm starting to believe that when it comes to set value, the majority of that value that you're going to receive back, you have to use the travel portal to get it. Or if you want to make sure you get the best earning rate, you have to use the travel portal to get it. So, how do you feel this will change the way that we select or use certain cards in the future? It actually, really, to be honest, goes with the ecosystem question. If everything that has to go through said travel portal, if you want to get the best earning rate, best redemption rate, use your credits, how do you think this will, how do you feel this will change the current credit card landscape over the next X amount of time? Matt, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, again, this definitely does feel like it goes into hand in hand with the ecosystem topic from last week. And we are talking primarily about two very heavy ecosystems. And I think as long as Chase and American Express are trading barbs with their travel portals, because I have to imagine that there's going to be changes to the American Express travel portal in some form or fashion relatively soon. We're seeing Chase starting to try and give a selling point of you can keep your status, you can pursue your status, you can gain more status going through our portal. There, it's primarily through the edit, but like they've added Omni hotels to add a nights to your Omni status. They've added Citizen M, they added Virgin Hotels. Like once they get IHG, especially with the Sapphire card, the Sapphire reserves giving you IHG Platinum. Once they add Marriott to the full portal, giving you Marriott status, like allowing you to gain toward Marriott status. Once they add Hyatt, the Sapphire Reserve becomes the number one Hyatt card because now you can buy through the portal, get at least Discoverist every year, be able to redeem out for 2 cents per point at pretty good Hyatt properties, guaranteeing 2 cents per point. Where yes, you can not gamble, but yes, you can transfer out and you get 4 cent per point redemptions and book those directly. And you should do your research, absolutely. But they could be potentially giving you a higher floor and letting you keep your Discover status booking through the portal. I think that is the play that they're trying to do. American Express can do the same thing. Fine hotels and resorts. If you have your Marriott, if you have your hotel loyalty number, you're good, right? You go to a Hilton, you go to a Waldorf that you book through FHR, and if you have diamond status, they immediately reflect your diamond status as part of the booking. That is like an extra value add with American Express. Now, the same can be true if you have Hyatt Globalist and you book a Thompson or you book a Park Hyatt, that sort of thing, right? If they extend that to to the hotel collection and the rest of Amex Travel, where again, your nights booked through Amex Travel are going to lead to gaining status to your nights adding up, that's going to be a huge value add. I don't know how Wells, City, or Capital One could conceivably fight back against that. They'd have to do the same sort of thing. But man, it'd be really easy to go through your Sapphire Reserve, get 8 times points, and get your night at Hyatt, and get your night at Marriott, and get your night at IHG. And if they added Hilton, the ability to do that with Hilton's, even better. So it does feel like they're trying to move us over, but like they have to give us good value adds to convince us to move over to the portals. The biggest thing with the portals right now, third party booking and your status. If you are looking for status, portals are a pain point. If you don't care about status, because once you get on property, you can get your status reflected by using your hotel specific card and your status as your incidentals and getting everything reflected once you're on property, then you don't care, right? Because you've already bought your status. So that all makes a certain amount of sense. If Chase and American Express make it so that you're getting your nights, you're getting everything else, it's going to be really hard to move away from one or the other. And yeah, then it's a question of what else do they give you in the portal, because you get your base earnings, you get your bonus earnings, and then you usually get your card earnings. So that's how the Hilton Aspire gets to 34x per dollar when you book a cash stay at a Hilton. Does the Sapphire Reserve answer with the ability to get 32 instead of 34, where you just have just enough covered where you could convince someone not to bother getting the Hilton Aspire by booking through the portal? Is that a potential reality of this? And again, like we're just talking about two ecosystems. Like it's going to force other portals to try and go and negotiate the same sort of deals where like Expedia will have to trade some profits in order to get your knights to count. Rove is going to have to trade away some profits in order to get your knights to count because the other portals that are not the card issuing portals are also going to have to find a way to deal with this. So it's an interesting play by American Express and by Chase. I don't know that any of the other credit card issuers have an answer for it right now. And I would be surprised if any of the other travel portals have an answer for it because what they're starting to do is what you get from Virtuoso or Hyatt Privé or Bonvoy Stars. And until Expedia can answer, like a lot of people will be left in the dust.
Yep, I don't disagree.
I think that hotel cards and airline cards are going to become more important. I agree long term where Matt's thinking, right? Like where they can get all of these partnerships with Amex and Chase and maybe the other portals. I think until then, more people are going to go get a Brilliant, get an Aspire, get an IHG card, do that instead of going through portals. Exactly. Yes. Here's the thing. I don't like portals. I will use the Amex and Delta portal for specific reasons, like the Delta portal if they're having an MQD thing where you can do just a hotel booking and get MQDs from it. I will do that. I'm doing it this weekend. Would I have preferred to just go through the hotel I'm staying at directly? Yes. But I had a reason. I did it. It's one night. I'm not super worried about it. There are other hotels in
Yeah.
the area where if they lose my booking, I'm good. You probably have at least a Surpass, if not an Aspire already. If you have a Surpass, I can see them being like, I don't want to have to deal with a portal. I'm just going to upgrade to an Aspire, get 34x on Hilton stays, and not have to play any games. If I have 34 points per dollar every time I stay at a Hilton, that's pretty easy. So I think that these high-end cards, the Reserve, the Club with United, I think all of these cards are going to see a surge in popularity for the people with loyalty. I think if you don't have loyalty, that's when the portals are going to become more attractive to you. If you're a Hyatt person and Hyatt now counts your nights and you can get, if they're in the edit for that particular hotel, 8 times, and you're just going to transfer those to Hyatt, or maybe you use the portal for even more and do that, then that might work. But for IHG, for Hilton, for even for Marriott, that might not pencil out for you in the same way until they get to the point where they're doing 34x every time you go to a Hilton, or maybe even 32x when you go to Hilton. And yeah, it's a little bit different, but do I really want to keep two cards for two more Hilton points per dollar? I think you get two Hilton points every time you look at the card. They just appear. That's how easy it is to get Hilton points. So in the short to medium term, I think those cards are going to become more important. Long term, if they get the portals situated like that, I think they could become important. But I also think like it's not as easy as just turning on the edit, right? There are a lot of mechanisms in place that have to be agreed on by the hotels, that have to be handshakes, that have to like once this kicks in for the 8x for the Chase Travel Portal, you have to see what Hyatt's going to do. Because if suddenly all of these points get devalued 6 months into the higher earnings, then
Yep.
that may or may not like last long term. Or it may be that now Amex goes to 10 points, like a 10x to be like compensate for that loss. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time before we can actually see what's going to happen with the portals because things have to recalibrate.
Yeah.
You actually, this is my pendulum swinging back to the beginning of, you know what? Why don't I just get rid of everything except for my United card and my hotel cards and get out of the transferable point ecosystem altogether? Where the answer might not be Chase or Amex, it might be
United.
neither.
I
It
mean,
might.
United and Delta both have pretty full featured portals to
Except,
where
yeah,
if that's, and I don't know American well enough to judge their portalness, but if you're an American, and I know Jason, the ladder man in our Discord, is going full AA right now. So I'm sure if you have questions, he would be happy to answer them. Kid as well, Craig does a lot of AA. But if you have airline allegiance, you can skip the credit card portal and just use their portal, and it may help you with
Mm-hmm.
miles and status and other things. So it might be like Delta, United, and American might actually make out from all of the cards, like the Platinum and the CSR and stuff going up, because yes, their cards might go up. But if you fly a decent amount, like you probably are gonna have one of the higher end cards anyway, just the laws of osmosis to where it makes sense. So I could see their like the new Delta card that's coming out. I could see it. If you pay with that card in the Delta portal, you always earn some form of MQDs, right? That is always a thing that we will do now for hotel stays for a price. Let's be clear, there will be a premium price on that, but they could do that. That's going to get a lot of people to use the Delta portal. Delta would be very happy about that. It might go to portals for airlines. So there's a lot of interesting ways I think the portal game could go. Maybe Hilton will get a way to book airline flights through their portal. We'll see. I think the next couple of years in this particular way is going to be very interesting. Frustrating at times, expensive for sure, but interesting.
I
Yeah.
used to live out of United's travel portal because, as I mentioned before, I can earn so many United miles so many different ways. I think I've counted. I think I've counted up to 20 something different ways to earn United miles. They are really easy, and sometimes in most there's a good chunk that requires zero spend. Time, yes. Spend, no. And you can still earn United miles without point stacking. Just here's some miles. And so I know I can not just book a United flight, I can book a Star Alliance flight, I can book a hotel, and I can book a rental car. And I've said it because I'm always sitting on so many. I didn't really care that I wasn't getting the best point per mile because got to burn these suckers. It's cheaper to get a lower redemption rate than to take money out of pocket. So, as I was saying, plan C, depending on how Amex responds, if I don't like what they have to say, I could actually end up getting out of both of these things. I'm not going to keep my United card and these new hotel cards and just save $2,000 a year now.
Yep.
The nice part about the Delta Reserve, right, is you still get Centurion access. So if you're somebody who's into Amex and Delta and you like a Centurion lounge, you get on the reserve as of right now, as of June 24th, 2025, you still can go into a Centurion lounge for X number of visits a year.
Yep.
Yep. All right. That's all I got, Matt. Passing it back to you.
Thank you, Lonnie. Also, if you were to get full Hilton status reflected through the Chase Travel Portal, you would be earning 28 points per dollar on Hilton stays booked through the Sapphire Portal. Yeah, 8 times it would break down as 8 times Sapphire points and 20 times Hilton points because 10x base plus 10x for the 100%.
So I would call that 20 and 8. I would not call that 28. Because depending on if you're a Hilton loyalist, and yes, I understand we're suspending some disbelief because you're using the Chase portal to do this, but you cannot transfer directly from Chase to Hilton. So I would call that 20 and 8, not 28. Yes, I'm being pedantic. I fully understand that, but I do think it's important, especially for the people who are not as into portals or transfer partners, for us to be clear on how. Like if it's Hyatt, sure.
Yeah.
But
no,
non-partnered.
That's completely fair.
You're earning a total of 28 points. You're not earning 28 Hilton points.
No, that's why I didn't qualify as Hilton, but that's fair.
So my topic this week is not about the banks. I'm talking about the credit card community. And I think my ultimate thought lately has been the credit card community as a whole encourages too many people to have too many credit cards. And I think the reason this happens is we focus so much on maximization. What's your gas card? What's your dining card? What's your grocery card? What's this card? What's that card? And if it's not something that's 2x, because most people have a catch-all that's at least 1.5, if not 2x, people like lose it, right? If you're not getting 3x on dining, like what are you even doing with your life, right? And yes, if you're in Chase, it's really hard not to get at least 3x on dining. but it feels like the bucket of crabs. Like as soon as somebody's, no, I'm just gonna have a catch-all and maybe one or two like primary cards for big things. Like it feels like somebody grabs the leg and just pulls them down in the bucket of you need to have a dozen cards. And it feels like a problem with the communities thinking of how credit cards are supposed to happen and that maximization is supposed to happen versus necessarily the banks, right? Because the bank wants you to use the platinum for everything, right? If Amex could get you to just use the platinum for every charge and not think a single bit about maximization, they would. So this is not a bank issue. This is not even a bank marketing issue. I think this is community specific. And I've seen it in a bunch of discords. I've even seen it in the Stack Your Points discord. People's first reaction is about maximization or about getting as many points. But if you say you want gas with Amex, you got to pay $375 for that. Now there's ways to recoup some of that annual fee, but you still have to pay $375 out of your account to get the possibility of 4x on gas. And if it's not one of your top categories on that card that month, sorry, you're getting 1x. 2x is easy to get, it's free. But anything above 2x you're paying for, sometimes we're paying too much for 1 or 2x more in a category that doesn't necessarily over the course of a year is not going to net us 50, 60, 70, 80,000 points. These are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours. I'm going to start with you, Matt, and then I'll go to Lonnie.
Yeah, I do think there can be a certain amount of encouragement. There's also a certain amount of I want to get as much back for and pay as little as possible. And like, how do I do that? So many credit cards and so many different ways that you can put things together. A lot of it comes from travel, where the best way to maximize your rewards is to transfer them out and get that 15 cent per point business class flight. I know that they exist. I'm just going to leave it there. But the push is to transfer out your points. So you have to get transfer point cards and you have to do transfer point currencies and you have to maximize everything in those transfer point currencies. Yeah, that's great to a certain extent. But like, how doable is that? Wells Fargo gives you the widest array of categories, but like your max is, if you're paying a $95 annual fee, your max is 5x on hotels. City is 5x on one select category with a city custom cash asterisk, however many custom caches you feel is sufficient for you, because you could have 10 and that's 5x on 10 cards on $5,000 to spend per month, which is insane. But if you want to manage that, you have fun. And then you've got American Express, which can go up to 5x with certain cards, but typically a Blue Business Plus and a green card can do a good amount of damage for not a lot of money. Whereas you can just add accelerating categories where like you spend a ton on grocery and dining, like Lonnie, the gold card, amazing point accelerator for you in the American Express ecosystem. You want to gamble with the business gold for that 4x on gas, you can, but you're going to pay $375 out of pocket to do it. Is that worth it? Probably not. But if you value membership reward points, you're going to try and be as creative as you can in attaining those membership reward points. That's why welcome offers and no lifetime language offers are always like big things that you push on and get encouraged by the community as, hey, no lifetime language offer, go grab as many business platinums as you can. Go grab as many business golds as you can. You're going to pay a lot of money out of pocket, but you're going to get a boatload of points along the way. The other side of it is like there's also a contingent on cash back that is also pushing for a lot of cards. Like if you make your objective to 5x all the things, which is a certain mantra with the cashback crowd, like it's go after this card because it's 5x on gas, go after this card because it's 5x on grocery, go after this card because it's 5x on utilities, go after this card because it's 5x on travel, go after this card because it's 5x at the pump at the gas station, do this other card for this other thing, and have as many rotating category cards, as many freedom flexes and discover its and customized caches as you can. You will inevitably 5x all the things your little heart's desire. How many cards did I just name with various specialties? In that, you could do 10 or 15 custom caches. You could do the AAA Daily Advantage card. You could do the AAA Travel Rewards card. You can do the Max Cash Preferred from Atlan, US Bank Cash Plus. You can go on and on. If your plan is to be as convoluted as possible, yes, the community can push you to get a large number of cards. We'll hit this welcome offer on the City AA cards, turn it into a custom cache after year one. We'll get the City Premier card, the Strata Premier card. It's not the best card, but you know what? Turn it into a custom cache after year one. That is the city strategy. Go get any other city card and turn it into a custom cache after year one. Weird strategy, but hey, be my guest. I think it's due to folks trying to extract as much blood from a turnip as they can. And until they feel that they've gotten every drop of blood from that turnip, they're going to push and keep pushing and encourage people to push as hard and as fast and as city custom cache as possible.
I think cashback, you're right, becomes more dangerous. But yeah, it really does feel like the foot on the gas comes as much from the community as it comes from anything else. Lonnie, as a man who's thinking of getting rid of everything except for United and some hotels, how do you feel about this?
Can't predict tomorrow, but to answer your question, yes, I 100% believe that the banks encourage you to get more than one card. The proof is in the pudding by itself. You might get one credit card and you're like, man, I'm really into travel or dining. I want to maximize that. But then there's something else out there that is not covered, like a grocery. If I want to cover that, then I got to get another card. Amex is quintessential with this, especially because of the way they build their families, like green, gold, platinum. They're meant to kind of be together, to have all three. And yes, I have an argument even for the Hilton 3 cards, Honor, Surpass, Aspire, where we can have an argument on Honors and Surpass. It's 1 point or whatever difference on a lot of those things. And then but I want what that Aspire has for everything else. But the only way you can do it is to get both of them. There's no way around that. So they encourage you to get both. And I also believe that's why you see such a big jump between $150 and $550, because it's like you are going up that ladder in the same way by getting what's beneficial to you, but also benefiting the bank back by saying, oh yeah, we'll get you there. And we had mentioned this earlier. I'll get you Hilton Gold status if you want the Aspire for $150, but you're going to be sitting with everybody else because we give out Hilton Gold status like Halloween candy. And today just happens to be October 31st. Everybody has Hilton Gold status. If you don't have Hilton Gold status, raise your hand.
Matt, you have silver?
Yes.
Okay.
So raise your hand.
I agree with everything you just said, Lonnie, but I'm specifically talking about the community. I'm not talking about the banks. I'm not talking about what the banks are trying to get us to do. I'm talking about the call coming from inside the house, so to speak. The call coming from the community.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So it's the banks that are building it this way, but then it's us in the community that are bringing light to it. People outside of the community you've mentioned this before. You have friends that don't want credit cards. You have friends that only have one credit card and they are just happy-go-lucky. And you're sitting there like cringing, like you are wasting so much, right? Because you understand it. So the banks have made the bricks, but we are the mortar that are starting to build the wall up for everyone else that's not on this side of the fence, if you will. And yes, we as the community are the ones that are encouraging it. I have a lot of friends that maybe only had 1 or 2 credit cards until they started seeing how I was living. And I'm like, you got to get more. I am now encouraging others to get more. But it does start with the banks. The banks built this so that we can have more than one card. Going back to board of directors, trustees, shareholders, all that other stuff. It's everything about business is not about profit. Sometimes it's about market share. Sometimes it's about active cards in this case. And they need us to get those extra cards, which is why I can't get a grocery category on my platinum. It would be so easy if you just made platinum, give all the bonus categories on the green. Grocery is 4X, and just put everything on one card. I'm getting back to my modular card here, Matt, but it just makes more sense.
I'm here for it.
I'm 100% here for it. I might only have one card, but I won't need to go look elsewhere, is my point. But because that does not exist, you want to have FHR, you got to get this card. I'm going to have FHR over here. I'm going to have diamond status from this one over here. I'm about to book a studio room and end up in the penthouse between these two things. You know what I mean, what I'm saying. You probably won't. You got to don't book the studio. Book a couple floors up first, and you might end up in the penthouse. but hey, how did you do that? How did you get that? It cost you nothing, or it cost you very little. I had to have multiple cards to be able to do that. I had to create this strategy around it, which encourages someone else to go get multiple cards and create a strategy around it. So yes, we do encourage the other people to get more than one card, but that's only because we're encouraged. We're basically playing the telephone game. We found a reason to be encouraged to get more than one card. We have benefits out of it, and now we want to pay that forward and make other people do it as well. The same reason as everyone talks about how great the Amex Centurion lounges are, but then everyone also talks about what you got to do to get into the Amex Centurion lounge. If everyone just shut up, the Amex Centurion lounges probably wouldn't be so damn packed. So I'm never going to talk about United Club ever again after this statement, because I don't want to see all y'all up in there. I like being able to find a seat when I need one.
He wants a soft cookie.
I just had a huge epiphany.
Lonnie is now telling everybody to go to the Admirals Club. That's
great.
going to be his new pitch.
Admiral clubs are awesome. They're awesome.
Especially in the flagship?
Yeah. They got a great salad bar.
JetBlue's got lounges, right, Matt? I'm sure everybody should get the JetBlue card and go to all of the JetBlue lounges.
They have 2 different kinds of cheeses.
JetBlue Lounge is just a sad tub of cottage cheese.
Can't do it.
I don't know what the JetBlue Lounge looks like. They refuse to give us any other details.
No, I appreciate both of your thoughts. This is one of my pet peeves. If somebody is like, yeah, I get 3x on this, and somebody's, you could get 4x if you just paid multiple hundreds of dollars. And I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, and I could be the Pope if I was a Catholic.
Male.
Got elected.
For me, it's one of those things.
It's a cool story.
Stop. I don't want that smoke. Just stop. Just stop. Wherever this is going, I don't want to be a part of it.
It's white smoke. It's good.
Yep. Definitely bowing out now.
All right. Yeah, I'll take over on the last topic. Sometimes you turn yourself into a liar. You turn yourself into a bit of a hypocrite, because there's a time or a welcome bonus that you can hit really quickly, and circumstance leads you to getting a card you absolutely don't like, but you work with it. And in this case, this weekend, I got the Chase Freedom Flex. Not a card I like. Not a card I'm remotely interested in keeping very long term, but I had a sudden expense. I needed to spend at least $500 in one shot. I wanted to grab myself an extra 20,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points, because you may as well pool them before October 25th on my Sapphire Reserve. And so I got a card that I don't like. And have either of you picked up a card you actively don't like just because circumstance has led to it? So Lonnie, have you picked up a card you have no business getting, you don't like, it's not a good card for you, it's terrible fit, but you had to grab it?
Everything other than I had to grab it, yes. My student card. I was not fully educated. The credit card game was not what it is today. And I still have it. It's still active. It's sitting in a sock drawer. I see it every time I log into my account, RJ. It's been $0 for over a decade. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. But like I said, the credit card game wasn't what it is today when I had got it. Welcome bonuses weren't necessarily a huge thing back in the day of when I got it. But at the same time, when I did get it, it was still the card I didn't need to get. Like, I'll say it like this. When I got the card, there weren't even like membership reward points. that it earned. It was just basically a credit card. Nothing more, nothing less. And now it actually earns in membership reward points. It's still $0 and it's sitting there. It's the oldest card on my credit report. So I'm just letting it sit there until Amex cancels it. I'm not going to cancel it. But yeah, that's the only one. I got 2 ink cards. I got a cash and unlimited. Don't need both of them. I only got them because they had both had incredibly high inflated welcome bonuses and the $0 annual fee cards. And it was really easy for me to hit those welcome spins to get all those Chase UR points. But I'm not going to say it's a bad card. It's just a card I didn't necessarily use or need at the time. But it was a quick smash and grab for Chase UR points. Now, I rarely ever use my unlimited. I use my unlimited mainly for YouTube stuff. I got it for the business I built around my YouTube channel. So it does get usage. It does have that. And then, but my cash card is basically just like whatever gets 5x. Like I pay bills with it, etc. My streaming services through Verizon because it gets 5x, like that type of stuff. That's all it does. And so that will be the closest thing I could do to answer that particular question of, dude, it's not a bad card.
Yeah, I plan on my new Freedom Flex when it arrives. I will use it for gas for quarter 3 because gas is a quarter 3 category. I may as well milk it for all it's worth. And then we'll see what quarter 4
Freedom
looks
Flex
like.
got some weight to it though. Not every
Does.
quarter, but at least 1 quarter out of the year guaranteed has some weight to it. 2
Yeah.
quarters out of the year, you'll find, and depending on the person, you'll find weight in a second quarter, no matter what that happens to be. So I'll say I have a really heavy, great quarter, an okay quarter, 1 quarter where I don't do that card sees not even the light of day. And then the last quarter is like a coin flip. But the quarter that has Amazon, the quarter that has PayPal definitely get usage. And whenever it does the Target, oh, the Target's done. Come on, man. I got a wife in this house. That Target, you can have my $1,500. Like we are eating those Target points.
I don't necessarily need my partner to know when the Target quarter comes around because reasons, but no, I absolutely hear you on that. It's a fine card. I grabbed it because the Freedom Unlimited, like I can't grab another Freedom Unlimited right now without product changing or canceling my Freedom Unlimited. Needed to hit a sub real quick. I literally hit the sub in an hour, which is fun. It's already like the points are already pending in my account, so that's great.
So low.
Yeah. RJ, tell us about the business green. Yeah.
Business Platinum, Business Gold, Business Green, Blue Business Plus employee card. Look, Amex gives me offers and I say thank you. What can I say? Look, I think the thing is you only have to keep these cards for a year, right? If it's something like Lonnie's student card where he's going to keep it until Amex closes because that's the only way this card is closing, then I get it, right? But like the business green is gone after a year. Like I will ask Amex the question I always ask in chat. Can you verify the day I opened this card? Oh, cool. It's been 365 days. Please close it. And they will. Amex has given me the points. Everybody's happy, right? Do I like the green? No. Do I wish it was the personal green every time I swipe past it in my Amex app? Yes. But does it hurt me to have the card? Not really. I've already gotten the welcome bonus. I've already paid the annual fee. It's just going to sit there for a year. Occasionally, it gets an offer that none of my other cards do, and I might use it. If it gets additional MR points per dollar at Olive Garden or Best Buy, because then it actually is giving me something that I don't have. So it's not necessarily a situation where the card with Amex offers cards that you don't necessarily want can be powerful. With Chase it offers cards that you don't necessarily can become more powerful or a really great category comes along. So there are very few cards that have literally no other upside. It's just how you frame it. Do I wish that the company would let you get the welcome offer, close the card, and then you just can't open another version of that card for a year? Yes. I would love if Amex says, we've given you the welcome offer, you have spent what we require. If you would like to close the card, you can, and we won't take any of the points back. So I will keep it for the year, and then I will close it. As much as I hate that I got the green, I have come around to the fact that because I've seen offers pop up that I haven't gotten on other cards, it has softened me to the green's annoyance. Also, that shade of green they use on the business card and their personal green is really pretty. At least if I'm going to look at it, it's a nice card to look at. It's not a
No,
reason
that's
to
fair.
get a card, but it is a pleasant thing as I'm swiping past it to go to one of the cards I actually want to use.
Get a card because it has a function.
Yes, and if it happens to be pretty,
Yes, like the attune.
exactly.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things where I've rationalized it as welcome bonus, great. Q3, I can at least use the gas category. Probably also take the Instacart category for a spin. I don't particularly care what Q4 looks like. And then I'll probably turn this into a Sapphire Preferred next year.
It also helps like your utilization because
Yeah.
you I know what your credit limit is, so I can tell you it's definitely going to help with your utilization. But like getting a card, like I unfortunately am an Amex fan, which means my cards don't have hard limits on them unless I
Yes.
misbehave, which I wish the Amex would just put a $10,000 limit on all of their charge cards for like credit report reasons. So what is reported can be a little bit out of whack, but not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. It, I will say, whoever clicked approve for me for this card, they gave me quite the limit for no good reason. But yeah, I just feel a little bit like a hypocrite just because I bash this card a lot.
You bash the card because you don't like a signature feature of the card, which I think is fair, but you're also consistent about that, right?
Yeah,
You didn't get this card. Like, if there was another card, you would have gone for that. But you
yeah,
have the Freedom Unlimited. So it's like you didn't pick it because, oh, I want this bonus category. You picked it because there were no other chase cards available to you in this sort of breath for you to get that emergent situation dealt with. So I think your hypocrite status is not as well earned as you feel like it might be.
that's fair.
And it's about to do 5x gas next quarter. So that
Ye-
really works for me.
I've
Like I said,
already,
it actually holds weight more than 50% of the year.
yeah,
Zero
been,
dollar. It's $0.
Occasionally, you got to try a Brussels sprout that's covered in bacon or something to make sure you really don't like Brussels sprouts. Like, occasionally, trying something that you didn't think you'd like a rotating category card, might change your position, which is good when you're talking about credit cards a lot. But occasionally, if the opportunity presents itself, it's a good learning opportunity.
Staying on the topic of JW Marriott, especially if you find the right ones, when they have the bacon Brussels sprouts on the in-room dining menu, you should buy those. They are so delicious. So thank you for saying that, RJ, because I'm actually staying at that JW Marriott the past couple of weeks. Now
There you
I'm
go.
super excited again. My
I
son
think,
eats them. That's how good they are. Toddlers eat these Brussels sprouts.
I think it's safe to say if you have bacon Brussels, roasted bacon Brussels sprouts on a menu, just grab them. Just a pro tip from the Stack of Points podcast, at least 2/3 of the Stack of Points podcast right now. RJ, I don't know where you are on bacon Brussels sprouts, but I'm assuming since you brought it up, you are also a fan.
Look, if you put good bacon on most things, I'll probably eat it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. It has been an eventful show. Do we have any final thoughts?
I don't think I got any more tangents left in me.
RJ, any final thoughts?
We are currently at 449 subscribers. We are 51 away from 500, and we are making the push. I want to thank everybody who's signed up this month and who's been with us since the start, but we're getting closer. I'm trying to talk Matt into if one of the lives, if we're a couple away, just staying on the live until we hit the 500. We'll see if that happens.
Maybe not this Thursday, but if we're close on a Thursday, yes.
I don't think it'll be this Thursday. If we gain 51 in the next day and a half, then we'll see.
There we go. All right. Again, thanks everyone who has hit subscribe. We are pushing our way to 500. 500 opens up memberships and some other stuff as well. We're looking forward to doing that. We've got ideas. We're happy to present those when the time arrives. In the meantime, just check out stackerpoints.com has all manners in ways to connect with us via the Discord. If you want to ask us questions, there's a contact us form there. There's also the Discord has the podcast questions form that you can utilize to ask us questions. Our episodes drop on stackerpoints.com. So stackerpoints.com, your one-stop shop for the podcast. We look forward to joining us next week. We will talk to you soon. Bye for now.